damn thing. I'm sitting in your restaurant, Dave. I ordered a beef steak, whatever that is, because I don't know about food. And I've waited 10 minutes, then 20, then 30. They'll do this to you in Venice because they like to torture you, for a plate of spaghetti. But you're not making your deadline. You want to be an arty-farty guy and go, but this one I need 10 days to make. I'm Babette's Feast here. No, meet the deadline. Make it as good as you can make it. It'll never be perfect. Finish the damn thing and then start the next. It'll make you get better. Isn't the best always to come? Have you made your best meal yet, Dave? No. Ask any person that makes things, what's your favorite thing? They will tend to tell you it's one of the most recent, okay? That's because the best is next. It's in the Bible. Matthew said the last is best. And so I'll go with that. That's an old book. I know this is gobbledygook.
No, it's not
gobbledygook.
gobbledygook.
It gets me away from talking about money. I'm sorry. The money is, what?
No, I'm saying that you make total sense. And I feel that if people that work for me heard this, they'd be like, this guy sounds like Chang.
Oh, good. And we're right for us. And you work for us, and this is how we roll. I have no assistants. I've never had an assistant, never had a helper. We're making this out of ourselves. So are your listeners. Make it out of yourself. This is not a TED Talk, man. I don't go for groupthink or what's it called? I just wrote down some words here. Do you mind if I say
Please.
I found some words that all the biggest corporations in the world are trying to be, quote, creative, okay? Here's some language used. They want to drive the conversation and the culture, celebrate the now, look for the next, create entertainment experiences. We want to be whatever our audiences want us to be. I think the devil said that, by the way. I will be whatever you want me to be. Inspire the world, nurture creativity, clear the runway for great ideas. Blah, 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 blah. Just make your work in a way that only you can make it. Okay? Everybody can make spaghetti. You gotta make it the way you make it. And if you build that spaghetti and people want it, they will come. And if they don't, you have to take responsibility.
Jerry, you don't sound like a critic that won a Pulitzer. You sound like a chef.
I do?
Yeah.
Well, you sound like a critic that won a Pulitzer.
You do. I can imagine everything you're talking about. Even though you say you don't know anything about food.
Not one thing.
You know everything about food. Because I think the cultural patterns are actually aligned to be very similar.
I love hearing that because I feel less of a person, the way you feel less of a person for not knowing enough about art. I think the mistake that people make about art, and then I want you to tell me if this is the mistake I'm making about food. Art is not about understanding. You do not understand even a Matisse. I mean, if I said to you, what does a Matisse mean? You and I would look at each other and go, I don't know. A really famous artist, a man and a woman, on Saturday said to me, a woman and a man, so don't get HR departments on me for this. I was talking to them about the painter Jasper Johns, a very famous living painter, 88 years old, who has a show up in New York right now at Matthew Marks. And everybody always complains, I don't understand Jasper Johns' work. And I said to these two artists, do you understand a Matisse? And they both looked at me at the same time and went, I just masturbate to a Matisse. Now, I was a little taken aback by that. They're artists, and it freaked me out a little because I took it literal. But they were saying the Matisse produces involuntary spasms in them that are induced by the Matisse. You don't understand art. You experience it. Is food like that?
100%.
You're kidding.
100%.
But I can't, you would say I can't make art. Therefore, you should be able to look at it. You're saying to me I should be able to eat it.
Which is why I want to talk to you, because I think that, when you talk about Ferran, I can't do what he does.
Yeah. would want to.
No, but that's
No,
what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Is like when I look at some of the paintings that I think that you like, I'm like,
Yes.
what the fuck is he talking about?
Yes.
Or appreciating?
I would think that in your restaurants. You would think that in my galleries. We would look at each other and go, huh?
But we're appreciating the same sort of like form behind it.
Yes, that's it. There are certain forms, there's genres which have the memory of forms. There aren't many. There's portraiture as a genre. Give me a form of cooking.
We'll just stick with the LBU thing. We're talking about postmodernism,
Okay.
basically, right?
Okay. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not sure what that
you
is.
don't want to say it's like well, let's just say it's like Cubism, right?
Okay. Cubism is a style. You see, I can make a cubist portrait, and I make cave painting portraits, and I make Egyptian. You see?
But if you look at all the Cubist painters, and I'm talking about Ferran,
Okay.
which I don't know if it's a perfect, we'll just go with it. Most people would just not understand that, or even if you appreciated food like on another level, and you understood sort of all the influences that people like that Ferran
Yes.
and LB were taken
Yes.
from to recreate, you are going to see that essentially the same perspective that he's trying to create is Cubism in the same way Picasso
Yes.
was trying to create the perspective. It's completely two different things.
I understand.
But what Ferran's basically saying is when I give you this pea soup with foam and all this other shit in there, I know every possible angle of this pea soup in a way that like I can no longer understand more.
Yes.
And for me to like express it, it's every angle simultaneous.
I think that's really brilliant, Dave, because that was my experience as someone that knows nothing about food. He made my body understand that he was breaking me down that way and making me understand that. And I also understood, as with art, so perhaps with food and all things, all art comes from other art. There's not many new foods. Maybe there are, but there's not that many new colors. There are sometimes. There's not that many new forms. It's what will you do inside of these already existent, beautiful forms that will never go away. They are operating systems that were put into place more than 100,000 years ago in some ways.
Yeah, the hardware doesn't change. Software
Not really.
does.
No. Yes, the software
Our
changes.
culture is our software, and that changes.
Yes, and so how we eat the hamburger or what type of meat we might be eating, depending on where we are and when we are, that changes. What I'm interested in the art world is if you're painting just stripes, for God's sake, or flowers, or building cardboard cities, I just am interested in seeing your voice in it. I want to be really honest now. Jasper John said, anyone can make the marks I make. And it's the same with me and you. You could write the way I write. I maybe could learn to make what you make. But yet no one has.
Why is that? It just seems so goddamn simple, and I feel that's a repeating theme in what you write about is just be you.
Yeah.
I live by this quote, a line by David Berman of the Silver Jews, artist, poet, and he said in one of his songs, all my favorite singers couldn't sing.
Yeah, look at Bob Dylan.
Lou Reed.
Lou Reed. Look at Louis Armstrong. Hello, Dolly.
And what I tell my cooks today,
Yeah.
always, and it's so, I think, obtuse to them. I'm trying to find a better way to explain it, which is why I'm happy to talk to you. So I say it's not about cooking anymore.
Well, people have gotten away. I mean, they think it's about the market and all of that.
No, not even talking about money anymore. I think that like they're so lost in trying to find their voice that I'm like, it's right there, man. Just do you.
Yeah, it sounds. See, now we sound like a Nike commercial.
Yeah, but
it is.
There's power in cliche.
Yes, and I think I agree with Dave Chang. Just do you. Just make what you can make. Jasper John said, anyone can make the marks I make. Anyone can make the food you make. You just have to make it your way. Now, you say people are worrying about trying to find their voice.
They're scared to fail.
Well, sorry. Listen, everybody. Dave and I have something to tell you. Man up or woman up. Grow a pair of whatever. You guys have to work. You're gonna fail. You already know that. You're being loved to death by your parents. Stop talking to your parents all the time. Stop getting all this love. Just get out there and work. Yeah, you're gonna fail. So what? I failed. I was a truck driver, long distance truck driver, the only Jewish one, till I was 40. I have no degrees. I can't spell. I can barely read. Barely. I can read certain things, but other things, they just look like words on a paper to me. I wanted to be in my world. Do you want to be in the world, listeners, that you want to be in? Okay, fine. Build it, and they will come. You have to find your voice. You have to embed your voice in your material. Yeah, what happens if nobody likes it? Then I would say, tough tomatoes. It's up to you to find a way. If you want to dance naked in public, if you want other people to like what you make, well, you better keep trying then. Or I'm perfectly happy if you have a small audience. Dave Chang needed to work for a big audience. Jerry Saltz did too. It wasn't enough just to be loved by a few people, for you or me. However fucked up we are, we needed to keep dancing as hard as we can. I'm 68 and still dancing. You're 40 and you're still dancing. It never stops. Many people I know, many artists, many chefs, many people can be very happy with much smaller audiences. Listen to me, people. How big of an audience do you need? 1 million? 1,000? 100? Is 50 enough? In the art world, many artists became famous from only 10 or 11 collectors, 5 or 6 collectors, 1 dealer, 2 critics, 1 curator. Can you convince, you listeners, can you convince 11 people about your crapola work to get you started? If you can convince, Dave, I think if you could convince 11 people with a new restaurant anywhere, you could possibly get started, as long as you didn't want to open big for $1 million. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, and I use similar analogies.
Yeah, what do you say?
I studied religion in college to not be religious, but I say this to my chefs a lot. It was like Christianity started with 12 people.
Amen.
And you don't need to broadcast. You don't need to broadcast it to everyone.
No.
You just need to be confident to get 12 people to believe in it.
That's it. 12 is a good number.
And then, you know what? You can use that to fuck up the world
down
the road.
They did. And then eventually, it just took 300 years. Constantine comes along in the Eastern Roman Empire and goes, okay, I'll be a Christian too. So all of a sudden, you're the establishment. That's what'll happen. It's no biggie. Here's what I think I do. I hate what I do. I hate what I do. Then I do it. And it's not so bad. Not too bad. And then I finish it hoping that my editor doesn't fire me and all of that. But then when I finish it, I think, hey, I'm bulletproof. I'm a god of this particular review. And the minute it comes out, I read it and I think I'm still a god. And then one person will say something like, ooh, I liked how you talked about the vortex in that painting. And I'll think, vortex? I should have said vortex. I never said vortex. I'm nothing. And then I'm going to ask you. The truth is, whether I thought I was a god or not, when I start again, it's as if I never wrote a word in my life and I'm helpless. I'm going to ask you, when you serve me a meal, I'm assuming you assume yourself as a sort of god in that 1 second where I'm kind of good at this today. I finally worked for his dinner and here it is. No?
I wrestle with that a lot because as a person that's insecure
We all are.
And have a lot of issues. I find it very strange that when I'm in the moment and I'm cooking, with all the odds stacked against me, I'm going to feel confident that I can make it happen.
In your process,
Even though I know that everything's going to fail and this is a Sisyphean-like task, I have to remain confident and almost willing to fail flat on my face.
Amen.
And I have confidence in that, in that process. Simultaneously, when I think about it, when I have reflection, I'm like, I have no idea. I suck. What am I doing even